Welcome to Rewire and Rise, from self-sabotage to aligned success in life and business. So today, over the next 60 minutes, we are going to dive into what's really been driving your patterns, the nervous system, the subconscious, all of that unseen programming that keeps you looping in, whether it's self-sabotage, procrastination, or even perfectionism when you know better. Because I know we've got a lot of smart people here that can recognize their patterns and yet still feel stuck in them, right? So we're going to learn why your brain keeps choosing safety over success, how to regulate your body so that focus and follow through feel more natural, and how to rewire the inner conversation between your beliefs and your behavior so that aligned action becomes more automatic. And part of that is that we're going to experience tools like EFT tapping and a little guided hypnotic visualization that you can begin using right away to calm your system and make progress that actually lasts. And because I know how full life can feel, I really do, like I said, I appreciate you choosing to be here for this co-created and interactive experience. You're going to leave today with insights that you can immediately apply to your work, your relationships, and your well-being. And for those of you that stay to the end, I'm going to share a special gift exclusively for live attendees today. I haven't done this before, but something designed to help you integrate what you learned today and take it even deeper. I'm also going to be doing a giveaway of one of my VIP packages. So again, close the other tabs, silence the notifications, give yourself this hour. You deserve to experience what happens when success starts coming from safety instead of struggle. All right. Hey, Molly from LA. Karen's here from New York City. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Just really glad that you're all here. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Teresa Lear Levine. I'm an international best-selling author of Becoming More Me, founder of the business by the same name, and I'm an EFT master practitioner. I'm a hypnotherapist, and I consider myself an energy strategist. I'm also a wife, a mom of 4 boys, and an awesome yellow lab named Mowgli, and an ADHD entrepreneur. So, however you found your way here today, our time is going to be all about turning the ways that you self-sabotage. And again, that could be avoidance, procrastination, disconnection with purpose, or even self-trust, so much more, into aligned action and success. And whatever that means on your terms, okay? So that you can feel in your body and see that tangibly in your life show up. And all that without having to like dial up the masculine and push harder, right? Because I think we've all felt like we've done plenty of that. So yeah, again, come on in, make yourselves at home, rename yourself if you don't have a name as your ID on here, and we are going to dive in. We are going to map out how patterns get installed, okay? And why they end up kind of like cleverly masqueraded as logical and worth reinforcing, and how to shift them, because you're at a place where you can see that they obviously don't serve you, right? And yet knowledge isn't enough to change the behavior that's been conditioned in since we were kids, just little children. I wish it was, because I've got a lot of knowledge, but often it just ends up frustrating us more and makes us feel like we should, and I don't like the shoulds. We say we should stop shoulding ourselves. We should be farther along. We should be showing up differently. We should be, millionaires already, or happily married, or have however many kids, or whatever these shoulds are. We should have a perfect relationship, excellent health. All that shoulding ourselves just keeps us separate from our desires, so many of which are already here, guys. They're already ours. If we can just let go of the stories and the shoulds long enough to get out of our own Groundhog Day of unwanted outcomes, okay? So as we get further along in the workshop, you're going to experience some nervous system and subconscious shifts in real time. Some of my favorite techniques, like I said, some tapping, some hypnosis, which will ensure that your next align action sticks. Okay. So like I said, I wrote a book, and In the book, I talk about the subconscious mind a lot. And this is one of the quotes from the book. The subconscious mind is not, the subconscious mind is loyal, not logical. It will prioritize what feels familiar over what feels expansive every time. Okay. And that's exactly why you can know what you want to do. You can start the business. You can show up on social media. You can raise your prices. You can trust your partner. You can get present with your loved ones. You can rest without guilt. Take care of yourself before you pour into everything or everyone else and still not do it. You can know those are the things that you really want and need to do and still kind of move in the other direction. And the nervous system is safety and survival driven, which is really important to understand because a dysregulated nervous system cannot hold a regulated life. Okay. And that one sometimes takes 2 times for it to sink in. A dysregulated nervous system cannot hold a regulated life. That's the foundation, honestly, of most things that I teach. And in my book, talk about that a lot too. And it's actually made a huge difference in my own life, my own business. You can have the best strategy in the world. You can have the prettiest planner, the smartest to-do list, the perfect morning routine. But if your body is stuck in fight, flight, freeze, fawn, it's going to override your plan. It's going to resist it or delay it, or you're going to find yourself numbing out, or maybe somehow you're going to push through, but you're going to feel like this shell of yourself by the end of it, right? Ask me how I know, okay? We have to slow down long enough to learn how to stop trying to outthink our body, outthink our mind, and start working with it. Okay. So tools like EFT tapping and hypnosis didn't just make me feel better for a moment. They literally helped me to rewire parts of me that had always been like bracing or performative or shutting down or panicking under pressure. Okay. So when I stopped outsourcing my worth to performance and I started reprogramming my identity from within, that's really when my entire life changed. And that shift didn't come from me trying harder. It came from changing the conversation between my body, my beliefs, and my inner world. And that's what we're doing here today. From that regulated place that I created for myself and that I help my clients create in the Becoming More You program, success stops feeling like a fluke. Okay. And it can start feeling like something that you can hold, that you can enjoy, that you can repeat, something that you can create, right? Something that can be infused with ease, pleasure, and joy, not something that's just making you wait for the weekend. A lot of people are living for the weekend these days. And the biggest challenges that you're dealing with aren't discipline problems. I hear that so often from people. Oh, if I just had more discipline or more motivation or more willpower, it's usually a safety issue. Challenges that you're trying to think your way out of when it's not possible. And today we're going to set the stage for success to feel and be experienced in a safer way so that you can step into it instead of keeping it at arm's reach. Okay? So if you're a busy-minded entrepreneur, a parent, a professional, a personal development junkie, you want traction in your health, your wealth, or your relationships, or all three, because why not, right? While you're infusing it with pleasure and growth and attracting those dreams and goals to you like magnets, you're in the right room. Okay, so hopefully this is resonating. For anybody who's new to my world, I know there's a lot of people here that are new. A little context, I want to give you that for why this work lands the way it does. I spent years doing all the right things, okay, and still repeating a lot of undesirable outcomes. Can anybody else relate to that? Like you feel like you go through the steps, you go through the motions, yeah, Debbie's like, uh-huh. And you still feel like, okay, Karen's feeling it. Yeah, all right. So it doesn't mean that anything's wrong with you, okay? For me, it was high functioning anxiety, perfectionism, overworking, under receiving. If there was a like gold star for pushing and embodying the masculine, I earned it like 10 times over. So in my book, I wrote that I had internalized that my value came from my output. So if I wasn't doing, I didn't feel worthy. Is that relatable to anybody else here? Do you feel like you're trying to prove through doing and like over delivering and so forth? Okay. It never created the success that felt good. It never created success that lasted. Never. Now, that doesn't mean that it didn't create success, okay? You can push your way to and through a lot of things, and you can make it to a lot of destinations through pushing, but that doesn't mean that it's sustainable, desirable, and it certainly isn't the only way. And from what I've been through, definitely not the easiest way and not the most fun. So, what changed everything for me wasn't more effort. It was learning to work with my nervous system, with my subconscious, so that results could stick and then I could trust myself more. So, once I was able to stop trying to think my way out of these survival patterns and able to teach my body and brain what safety and success actually feel like, it's like I got this grip, this traction on wheels that felt like they were just spinning too fast before. And in places where I used to just like fall apart or scurry to patch things together, like income and health and relationships and parenting and even creativity, right? And creativity is often the first thing that goes when you're in these cycles. And it's one of the most important things to actually have pleasure-fueled success and ease. So that's the thread that's running through everything I teach. How can you become more of who you want to be in the world, bring your dreams to life, and then infuse it all with pleasure, with joy, with presence, and gratitude the whole way through? So it's just baked right in there. And I do this work at scale with clients who are often the type that like they look great on paper, they look great on their social media profiles, and they feel like they are just like white knuckling their lives, okay? Entrepreneurs, leaders, professionals, CEOs, do it all parents. They know that something's missing or they wouldn't feel so off. And what we do together is unwind these sneaky patterns. Maybe it's people pleasing, procrastination, approval seeking, productivity avoidance. Anybody do productivity avoidance? The ones that make you like look busy while your real desires are just waiting in a corner that your body and mind have labeled too dangerous or too unfamiliar to step into. Sometimes those patterns started with family rules that you never agreed to, things that may have been cast upon you. Sometimes they're generational hand-me-downs of like self-sacrifice or scarcity or things that we were kind of conditioned to just like, yeah, be good, don't be real. And sometimes they're identity habits, right? Maybe you've come to be known as the reliable one or the one that fixes everything or the peacemaker. And perhaps those are identities that kept you safe at some point in your life and were, they served a purpose. They had a role, they had an identity. And now they're just quietly costing you. Okay. And I'm guessing, and you guys can let me know in the chat if this, resonates, you've probably tried mindset work. You've probably done your share of courses. You've probably bought more planners than you would like to, share. You've tried accountability and you still end up in these groundhog days. Is that a yes? So maybe you feel like last year it was kind of like the one that came before it, and then you can't kind of bear the idea of the next one being a repeat too. All right, cool. Yeah. Wendy's like, yep, Karen, more years of therapy. Okay. So the repetition and the stuckness isn't a lack of intelligence. It's not a lack of will. It's your system choosing familiar over expansive, right? And you have to draw the line in the sand that says no more. The good news is it can totally be done, and it can be done gently, and it can be done faster than you might think, and in a way that doesn't bulldoze your whole life. Because I am not here to add to your to-do list. If you're like me, your to-do lists have to-do lists, and you don't need me telling you 10 more things that you need to do. And that's probably a big selling point for people that hire me. My work is not prescriptive. There's no preset agenda for a specific journey. I simply meet people where they are. And that's what people need most, right? In one-on-one and small group coaching, because we already live in a world where information is readily available. Information is free. And we need people to walk a path with us, to guide us to find our own answers, to kind of suss out what's been happening underneath the surface that we can't see for ourselves because the hidden nature of our patterns is a protective mechanism. So I'm here to help your body, your brain, and your belief stop arguing with your goals so that aligned action becomes the easiest and most obvious option for you. Okay. And I'm going to continue to kind of reference some different quotes and other principles from my book during the workshop because the stories and the exercises in it mirror what we're doing here. Releasing what's not for you, reinforcing what is, and letting results come from regulation instead of adrenaline and dopamine hits. Okay. So if you like actually having like a tangible companion to keep going further after today, it's great to keep the momentum going. My book is called Becoming More Me, Tapping into Success, Subconscious Secrets of an ADHD Entrepreneurial Mom. And what I would like to give to you all, Rachel says, very good book. Thank you, Rachel. I know a bunch of you here have actually read it, but if you haven't read it, if you're interested in it, you can grab the first chapter, both in Kindle and Audible format, absolutely free. I'm going to share the link both on the screen here, which is a little bit small, but I'm also going to have my assistant Camille drop it in the chat for you guys too, so that you can just click on it and get it. I encourage you to grab it for yourself, and if it resonates, you can easily, choose whatever format you enjoy the most. It's available on Amazon. But here's the really cool part. I don't really care if you choose to buy my book or not, but in my school community, and I'm not sure how many of you are here in the school community already, but if you're not, here's how you can join my school community. My school community is totally free. And in the classroom section, I have like a ridiculous amount of resources that are available for free also. And one of them is an 8-week coaching program that goes along with my book. So whether you've bought it or not, the book resources and the coaching program, and the book resources include like video tapping rounds, hypnosis, all sorts of things are in there, all in the classroom on school. So just something that you can grab if what's happening today resonates with you, where you can go deeper, and it's all just available right there in the community. So yeah, quick pulse check as far as things for this particular group, because I want to be able to tailor some things as we go. So if you had to pick like the loudest theme for you right now that's begging for your attention, would you say, and you just drop this in the chat, would you say that it's like business or career growth? Is it relationships? Is it your boundaries or your kind of like ability to receive? Or is it follow through? Sabotage, procrastination, that kind of thing. Drop it in the chat because I want to see what we need to be kind of weaving in the most today and how I can best help there. Let's see. Business, career, and follow through, business, all of the above, business, procrastination. Okay, this is great. Okay, shifting from codependency. All right, cool. This is so helpful. Thank you guys for chiming in. All right, so with that context, let's get a little bit specific about how these patterns get installed and how we're going to make your next aligned move feel safer than the current or old loop that you've been going through, so that, the next move can actually happen, right? So I want to introduce you to an acronym that I call SAFE. I call it the SAFE trap, actually. And this is kind of about like, why do you stall when you know better, right? And I love teaching with acronyms. I think that's an ADHD thing. It just helps me remember things easier. So most of your choices, most of our choices and our reactions are run by autopilot. It's the subconscious programs that were built really early on for us. When something feels unfamiliar, the amygdala, which is where, fight, flight, freeze, flop, all that stuff is happening, tags it as unsafe. Okay. And then your prefrontal cortex, that's the part that plans and follows through, that gets turned way down. It gets dim. And then your RAS, I'm throwing in all sorts of brain parts here, so just bear with me. The RAS is the reticular activating system. It starts filtering for proof that the old pattern is right. Okay. It looks for ways to reinforce it, not disprove it. We can use this to our advantage though. But a lot of times we don't. So for instance, it might look like this loop where it's like, oh, I'll start on Monday. That happens to people over and over again. Always kind of like, yeah, just, the diet starts Monday, the job search starts Monday, the whatever the change is starts Monday. Or maybe it's tidying the junk drawer instead of doing the thing that actually matters, that kind of a loop. Or perhaps it's oh, I'll just make another spreadsheet, write another post, but not publish it, and make another list, that kind of a loop. So just quick check again in the chat. Have you ever sabotaged something that you really wanted just as it started to go well? Drop a yes in the chat so your brain can see that you're not the only human here that deals with this. Okay, cool. Yep. Lots of agreement there. All right. Things might like get a little bit too close, a little too intimate, and you go into like an avoidant pattern with things, or you start an argument. Or maybe, you have a huge month in your business and make a ton of money, and then you follow it up with months of nothing. Or you feed yourself really well, you like nourish your body with great food, great exercise, and then you spend the weekend drinking and binge eating. There's so many ways this can go down, right? But they're all representative of the same thing. And what typically happens is when you notice the pattern in one area, you notice the pattern in other areas. So let's name the pattern, right? And that's what this acronym, the SAFE trap, is all about. This is about labeling what's happening so that you can spot these sneaky things like in the wild on your own. Okay. So this is like 4 strategies that your system uses to keep you in the land of the familiar. Okay. So the S in this acronym is about survival mode thinking. And as we go through this, I want you to think like which one of these is most you, because I'm going to ask you when we're done, because I'm just kind of curious where people are landing here. And I want to check some things here too that are happening in the chat, so I'm not missing anybody. Yeah. Yeah, Sarah says she's currently avoiding editing and posting videos that could help sell advertising. Yeah, it's a big deal, right? Susie Q says, some days low-hanging fruit tasks just feel more productive, but don't actually correlate to progress. Yeah, absolutely. I can see a lot of people resonate with that too, Susie. Yeah. And I mean, I've been there too. And I don't think that this is about never having this happen again either. Like, I don't want to give anybody this unrealistic expectation that like we just like fix this and then it doesn't happen again. It's more about awareness. It's about being able to shift more readily, maybe a little faster, and not having these periods of time when you really like fall into this over and over again. Because again, time is super valuable and the way that we use it is important. So S, survival mode thinking. If this is kind of one of your patterns, then everything feels urgent. Maybe you can't even figure out where to start on your list because you've put everything kind of mentally at the same priority level. And rest is going to feel risky to you. And kind of like we talked about before, your worth is totally tied to your output. So Lord forbid that you rest, because then you're just not worthy of much of anything in your mind. So this is kind of like living in I just need to get caught up land. And we all know that we don't really ever get there. So even putting off stuff that you know is going to make your life better, kind of like some of these examples that are in the chat, because you're allowing things that don't align with your true goals and values to take priority. So here's the paradox that I had to kind of learn the hard way, okay? Peace isn't the reward for productivity. It's the foundation of power, okay? And the same can be said for profits, okay? Since I know a lot of people here are working on business. Slowing down creates traction. It also requires us to feel, okay? Many of us are avoiding that, right? By staying busy doing things we will never think about when we are on our deathbed. Things that just truly do not matter. Okay. I once believed that peace was the reward for productivity when really it's the foundation of true power. So that's kind of summing up what happens in S, in survival mode thinking. So we can move on to A. So A is avoidance of expansion. Okay. So here you might want more income, more visibility, more connection, vitality, intimacy, even vulnerability. But expansion feels unfamiliar, and unfamiliar registers as unsafe, right? So in this case, you might delay things, you might shrink yourself down, you might busy yourself with low leverage tasks, that kind of low hanging fruit that was brought up in the comments. And it's fun to be able to check the box, but at the end of the day, do you really feel like great about what got done? The deeper question your system is asking you, though, quite indirectly, is what will success require? What will success change? What will success cost? And without you even consciously thinking about it, your subconscious and your nervous system gather up all those answers and they don't like them. So they steer you in another direction. Resistance is huge here. Okay. Oftentimes, it's kind of funny. Resistance is at the heart of why a lot of clients come to me to work with me. And the funnier and more ironic part of that is that those clients that want to work on resistance the most take an average of 3 to 6 months to pull the trigger on doing this work because their resistance is so powerful. So I always find it so funny, and they think that they have like a more like logical answer or a more rational answer that's going to solve the dilemma. And what ends up happening when we try to rationalize? A lot of times we tell ourselves rational lies because breaking through resistance just doesn't work that way. And also, kind of like what I was saying before, like it's not about making resistance or making avoidance obsolete, right? It's about learning to work with them, which is the more feminine side of the coin. All right. The masculine wants to push it out, overcome, will our way through. It's too hard to sustain. And it doesn't actually transform the parts that we want it to. Okay. Um, yeah. So, okay, I'm just looking at the comments again here. Not beat ourselves up for lapsing into the patterns, human nature. It totally is. Yep. Rachel said survival mode seems very familiar. Yeah. Lisa says you're correct because I'm here to try again. Yep. Here we go. All right. So let's move on here again. So again, the subconscious doesn't care about your goals. It cares about your safety. But it's more about like how do we deal with that? It's like, okay, we know that. What do we do? So moving on to the F, this pattern is going to be fear-based decisions. Okay. This could be saying yes when you mean no. It could be staying quiet when you want to speak. It could be picking things that feel safe instead of things that feel aligned, or maybe picking nothing at all, but not making a decision is also making a decision. It's a decision with a result of its own, and it's just protection wearing a costume, right? So when you make a decision, do you think about whether you're making it from fear or whether you're making it from love? It's such a great practice to get into. Until I learned to regulate my own nervous system, my decisions were often driven by fear disguised as logic. And so, yeah, think about that in your life. How many decisions do you make out of fear? Or when you are trying to tell yourself those rational lies or, look at things from that more logical place, are you diverting to fear in doing that? So, all right, let's move on to E. E is about energy leaks, mostly from your past conditioning, including, things that are generational too. So this could be where things like overgiving, over apologizing, performing to earn love or safety come in. your body reacts to the past and all that it's been through while your mind tries to lead in the present, right? So even though those things are not happening anymore, and they are definitely not any sort of capital T truth of who you are, those things steal your power in the form of the present moment, okay? Most people are never even aware of this major drain that past stuff has on them. And so this is where things like family patterns, traumas, and different cultural scripts kind of hum along in the background. Okay. So the real work isn't about adding more in. Okay. It's about unlearning the patterns that were never really yours. Okay. So drop in the chat. Now we've kind of gone through the SAFE acronym here. Which letter feels like the loudest for you right now? Is it survival mode? Is it avoidance? Is it fear? Or is it energy leaks? Okay. And it's okay if it feels like it's more than one that's taking a toll. And if it's easier, you can just write the S, A, F, or E in the chat, or just spell out the whole damn word if that's how it's feeling too. So, all right. Let me check in with the chat here. Karen says, ding, 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 that's me, fear-based decision maker. Okay, Darren's got some energy leaks. Wendy's avoidance of expansion primarily. Sarah's got a little S and a little A. Got some avoidance, some fear. All right, cool. It's an A. All right, mostly all. Okay, cool. All right, so now we've kind of gotten through that part. Let's kind of look at some different lenses here that shift things for us. Because once you can see that you're being affected by survival or avoidance or fear or past traumas and energy leaks, then you can give your system some context for some new choices. Okay. Excuse me, I need to cough. Okay, and I need a drink. So survival, like moving from survival to abundance, okay? This is kind of one of the nervous system lenses here. Survival wiring confuses fast with safe, okay? But slowing down is actually what creates traction, okay? But slowing down also requires us to face things that are uncomfortable, like actually feeling things, but totally worth it. And it helps you to get to that place of peace that creates power, okay? That's how you make decisions and take action that you actually enjoy living with, okay? And then if we're looking through the lens of moving from approval to authenticity, then we're talking about like people pleasing as a safety strategy. So this is where boundaries reteach your system that authenticity doesn't equal abandonment, okay? Because that often comes up for people. And that's how energy leaks start closing, okay? Really important. And then if you're somebody who has these kind of like looping identities, kind of like I talked about before, like maybe you've come to be thought of as like the reliable one, or you're the peacemaker, or maybe you're the one that just never finishes anything, or you're the flaky one, or whatever. There's ones that are positive and ones that are negative. Or maybe you're the one that can handle or adapt to whatever gets thrown at them. Those aren't just thoughts. Those are like wired and conditioned roles. Maybe you were parentified and that brought in some things when you were younger that got conditioned in. If belonging feels at risk, your nervous system yanks you back to where it's familiar. So like kind of a gentle spiritual reframe there that I love from my book is that like you can't heal or rise through force. You can only rise through safety. So safety is the context for today. And the idea that like your system can handle being more of you, more of yourself, being more authentic. So I want to share with you the method for doing this, okay? I call it the RISE method, and we're going to kind of learn how to do this today and start to install it. It's practical, it's repeatable, and it's kind of like just this mini map that we're going to install together. So the idea with RISE is that the first thing you need to do when something is coming up for you is to be able to regulate your state. So body first, okay? And so as an example of that today, we're going to do some EFT tapping in a few minutes, okay? And we're going to use that to bring the system down just enough for choice to come back online, okay? You always want to make any kind of decision or response from a more regulated place. And EFT, I don't know if you guys have all, I know a lot of you have done it under here. I don't know about everybody, but it's a totally accessible technique that you can use anytime that you need to restore like calm, get present in your body, and get present in your mind. So that's the first thing. The second step in this is to identify the pattern. Okay, so that's the I, identify. So the idea is to kind of be like, be able to recognize what's happening and name it without any kind of drama. You kind of see what's going on. Oh, okay, that's avoidance of expansion. I see that. Or like, hello, reliable one identity. Labeling focuses the brain so that it can dial in on what's happening instead of trying to figure out everything all at once. I'm not a huge fan of labels in a lot of senses, but sometimes when we can use it to narrow things down so that we can have more clarity, it can be really valuable. And then we move to the S part of Rise, okay? So this is select. Select one truer micro move you can make, okay? Choose like a 10 to 15% stretch. We're not doing like 100% cliff dive here, okay? Your system needs a win that it can keep and follow through on, not some kind of dare that it's going to punish you for, okay? When we talk about like frequency fueled manifestation and vision casting and stuff like that I've covered in previous workshops and things, the stuff that kind of brings our dreams to life, I often talk about why affirmations fail and the value of using subconscious questions in their place. And so that's what this is like. You're not affirming something too big to make it happen. You're asking yourself, what would it take? What would it take to just do the next smaller part of the bigger thing? One little micro move. And then the E part of the Rise acronym is to encode, or otherwise to install, okay? So you're gonna pair whatever that micro move is with something, just like I mentioned, whether that's a subconscious question, maybe like a brief scene or visualization where you're rehearsing doing whatever the thing is successfully. And that can help the subconscious to tag it as familiar, okay? And then that reticular activating system, that RAS that we talked about a little bit before, starts looking for the proof as it does, right? And it's going to start looking for proof that this is who you are now, okay? Instead of proof that it's not, okay? It wants to prove that you're the person who does the thing, and it will find it, but you have to set it up for success. Visualization can do that. So here's something interesting. So like I had a client, her name was Rachel. She used to stop right before like the wins would come, okay? And she already kind of knew it was a pattern before we started working together. And then in real time, as we worked together, we would kind of notice it over and over again. It's like, okay, look, that's happening again. And whatever she wanted was always just kind of like right on her doorstep, right? In every area of her life, okay? So like we dissected thoughts and beliefs and her past and how she was showing up presently. After a few sessions of like getting more embodied and rewiring how she felt success in her body, I remember her showing up one day and she like sighed, she sits back in her chair and she's like, oh, like for the first time, like I can follow through without forcing myself. And she was like, I wrote and like published an entire automated email series to promote my launch over the weekend. I like it felt surreal. And she noticed too, she's like, oh man, I just realized like I'd saved up like $3,000 for that trip I was planning to Greece next year. And she was so confused about what was happening because it wasn't the way that things had been for her entire life up until that point. She was like, things are unfolding and panic and shutdown feel optional, right? Whereas for most of us, it's like things are unfolding and then we panic and we shut down. So that was kind of the surreal moment as these things started to happen. And she's like, oh, it's actually starting to kind of feel normal. So here's what I want you to know about Rise. It's not just a concept, it's this reset that you can return to anytime you notice old patterns taking over. Okay. We'll call it the Rise reset. Okay. Regulate, identify, select, encode. Okay. It doesn't require any kind of crazy checklist or 90-day plan or anything like that. I already told you I'm not big on homework, but it will buy back time for you and allow you to follow through on what is meaningful to you with a much higher rate of success. Okay. And it's something that you can lean on in the moment. Okay. Whether that's in your business, in your relationships, in a choice that you're making related to your health, even in just a small conversation and how you respond. Okay. So instead of trying to do more, the reset is about slowing down, bringing your system back online, and allowing success to come from safety. Okay. And that is how progress starts to feel natural and not forced. And the beauty is that, like, every time you walk through this, you get to teach your subconscious that aligned action is familiar, it is repeatable, it is safe. And that's how success stops being something that you like chase after and it starts just being who you are. Okay. So that's our aim today. Like, just like my client Rachel, we want to create follow through without attacks of panic, right? Because from that place, you can totally move mountains. So, what I want to do now is I want to kind of move into the embodiment part here. Okay. We've named the trap, we got the safe trap. We looked through a couple of different lenses of how this works. We've mapped out Rise, learned how to do a Rise reset. So let's install it. Okay. We're going to do a little EFT tapping, which is going to kind of like quiet that nervous system alarm. And then we're going to end that with a short, like, hypnotic visualization where your aligned action becomes the new familiar. Okay. So I want to start by, I'm going to have you guys kind of give a rating to something that we can put in the chat. And then afterwards, you're going to give me that first number rating and the number from afterwards. So I'd also love to get, if somebody wants to like raise their little Zoom hand and be a volunteer, I can always use somebody that can like mimic back the words so that we can keep on pace. Because if you've ever done tapping before, you know, I'm going to say something, you're going to say it back. It's really helpful if I have a live voice. So if anybody wants to raise their little Zoom hand and be a volunteer, I would be grateful. But while I look for a volunteer, we're going to do EFT tapping. It's like follow the leader. I'm not going to take a whole lot of time explaining what it is. There's plenty of stuff in my community that can go into that. But what I want you guys to rate before we start is I want you to notice the intensity of your most prominent survival pattern. Okay, your most prominent pattern in the safe trap. So whether it was survival, avoidance, fear, or those energy leaks. Okay, and then I want you to give it an intensity, like how much kind of like energetic charge or pull does it have on you between 0 and 10. Okay. And I want you to drop that number in the chat. So everybody might be thinking of something that is just somewhat different, and that is totally okay. And I see that Wendy has her hand raised. I would love it if you would unmute and do this with me, Wendy. Thank you for volunteering. And all right. Okay, cool. So when we're done, I'm going to have you tell me the new intensity. So whatever that feels like to you at the time there. So I always have people do the first number in here though, because that's important. And sometimes we forget it, honestly. So yeah, if you've done EFT tapping, this is going to be familiar. If you haven't, then literally we're tapping on different spots from, you know, the side of our hand, the top of our head, down through under the arm point, which is sometimes hard to see on Zoom. So just know I'm tapping like kind of like where like a bra strap would go around your body on my side if you can't see me. And you're going to repeat what I'm saying. Since everybody but me and Wendy is muted, if you find that there are words that resonate with you more accurately and truer than the words that are coming out of my mouth, please, please, please say those words instead. Okay. EFT loves specificity and something that feels authentic to you. Okay. So feel free to change it up. I'm going to do my best to kind of channel in what we've talked about and make it relevant. All right. I'm going to take a drink again. So I'm getting over this head cold and lots of coughing and throat clearing. So sorry. All right, here we go. Everybody can just start with a nice deep inhale through your nose. We're tapping the side of the hand, which is known as the karate chop point. As always, it doesn't matter if it's your left hand, your right hand. You can do, one part, you can do two sides, whatever you want to do. There's no wrong way to do this, okay? And I'm going to ask Wendy to repeat after me, and all of you repeat after me. And if you're in a place where you can do it out loud and with some emphasis, do it out loud and with some emphasis. Even though a part of me runs this old pattern to keep me safe.
Even though a part of me runs this old pattern to keep safe.
Listening.
Hmm?
I'm listening.
Oh, I'm listening.
And I'm open to an easier way.
And I am open to an easier way.
Even though my system equates familiar with safe.
Even though my system equates familiar with safe.
I'm ready to let aligned action feel safer than the old loop.
I'm ready to let aligned action feel safer than the old loop.
And even though this pattern has such a strong pull,
and even though this pattern has such a strong pull,
I honor its intention.
I honor its intention.
And choose a truer path now.
And choose a truer path now.
Right, we're going to start moving through the other points. Oh, this old pattern trying to keep me safe.
This old pattern trying to keep me safe.
The way it shows up in my day.
The way it shows up in my day.
All the tension between what I want and what feels familiar.
All the tension between what I want and what feels familiar.
All this noise in my system.
All this noise in my system.
This habit of choosing fast over safe.
This habit of choosing fast over safe.
The urge to delay or say yes when I mean no.
The urge to delay or to say yes when I mean no.
All these energy leaks from the past.
All these energy leaks from the past.
Or future pacing and getting anxious.
Future pacing and getting anxious.
I'm just taking a moment to let my body know that I'm listening.
I'm just taking a moment to let my body know that I'm listening.
To let my inner child know that we can choose differently now.
To let my inner child know that we can choose differently now.
That I can lower the volume of my inner critic without losing momentum.
That I can lower the volume of my inner critic without losing momentum.
Feeling my prefrontal cortex coming back online.
Feeling my prefrontal cortex coming back online.
Slower can be smarter.
Slower can be smarter.
I can lead from a place of peaceful power.
I can lead from a place of peaceful power.
Intentional, aligned, and feeling good.
Intentional, aligned, and feeling good.
I can pick one small true step.
I can pick one small true step.
And decide with ease because I can always decide again.
And decide with ease because I can always choose again or decide again.
My system can handle me becoming more me.
My system can handle me becoming more me.
Visualizing my aligned next step before I take it.
Visualizing my aligned next step before I take it.
Practicing the feeling of it being done and already mine.
Practicing the feeling of it being already done and mine.
Setting myself up for success.
Setting myself up for success.
So that my brain will find all the proof.
So that my brain will find all the proof.
all the proof it needs to move me forward.
all the proof it needs to move me forward.
Placing healthy boundaries and making space for my authenticity.
Placing healthy boundaries and making space for my authenticity.
I can choose aligned responses over automatic or conditioned reactions.
I can choose aligned responses over
Automatic or conditioned reactions.
automatic or conditioned reactions.
And open to receiving in so many abundant ways.
And open to receiving in so many abundant ways.
Follow through and focus on what truly matters is my new normal.
Focus and follow through on what truly matters is my new normal.
I'm safe to rise.
And safe to rise.
I'm safe to succeed and safe to experience more.
I'm safe to receive and to experience more.
In my health, wealth, and relationships.
In my health, wealth, and relationships.
All right, you guys can stop tapping. I want you just to, we're going to drop into a different brainwave state here for a moment where we can get a little bit more receptive and open. So just take a deep inhale. And if you're comfortable, just close down your eyes. And of course, if you're driving, don't do that. Just, I want you to picture your eyes closed, your day tomorrow. Okay. Simple, ordinary day. I want you to see yourself in the moment when you would normally slide into an old loop. Okay, it's like this familiar fork in the road. And I want you to watch yourself do whatever your 10 to 15% stretch, whatever your small, truer step that you might choose would be. And I want you to see it like a movie. This new way that you would respond or this new action that you would take, the way that you move. I want you to see the look on your face. I want you to maybe even hear the sentence you might say to start or the click you might make to send something. I want you to hear and see all the things. Maybe it's that block on your calendar that you honor, that you normally brush off, or a no that you can choose with kindness instead of a yes, or vice versa. And just see yourself going through a new motion where you would normally fall into an old loop. And I want you to notice how your body feels as you do it. Maybe your shoulders lower a little bit, maybe your jaw's softer, maybe your breath is just smoother without you even trying, a little deeper, a little smoother. And I want you to just feel that calm momentum. Your RAS, that reticular activating system, just bookmarking that as familiar, bookmarking that as safe, bookmarking that as yours. And I want you now to fast forward to the after this thing happens. That small win is already complete. And I want you to feel the clean satisfaction of it. Not adrenaline, not dopamine, not perform and crash, just steady energy. And let your nervous system memorize that feeling. Let it memorize, this is how aligned action feels in my body. And just lock it all in with a simple phrase within, something like, I'm safe to follow through. And just say that in your mind. I'm safe to follow through. And then as you're ready, you can just take a nice deep inhale one more time and just come back to awareness here with me in the workshop. Nice deep breath. You may feel like you want to stretch or yawn. I see Darren's got some good yawns. You had some good ones during that EFT session too, Darren. I saw you. I'm always trying to scan the room for where the yawners are because that's always energy moving. That's a good thing. Um, so that's perfect. So yeah, just deep pause right now, and I want you to check back in. Revisit, notice the intensity around your most prominent pattern that you were focused on, whether that was survival, avoidance, fear, or energy leaks. Okay. Give it a number from 0 to 10. And if you can in the chat, give me your first number and your number now. It's so much easier for me than trying to go and compare them and everything else. So if you can say, yeah, perfect. Wendy's got it. 9 to a 7. All right, cool. Awesome. Let me see this. So drop those in the chat. Okay, so we mapped out the safe trap. We peered through those lenses. We know how to do the rise reset. We've tapped to bring the choice back online, rehearsed those moments that you usually loop. It's a lot, right? And your system's all handled it. So that's awesome. Do any of you actually have a good like micro move in mind, like that that you're thinking about like how you might do something different? You don't have to share it or not. I'm just curious if you guys were actually able to kind of like think through to what you might actually do differently regarding whatever you normally kind of trip up on or loop on. But you can see how quickly things shift. And I want to thank Wendy too for tapping along with me. And for any of you that follow my podcast, Wendy is my guest on this week's podcast. So if you listen to the Becoming More of Me podcast, she was actually my guest. It just released yesterday. Awesome episode, and you can learn a lot about Wendy and all the awesome work that she does in the world, because she's truly a delight. So yeah, you can feel like just how quickly things can shift when your system feels safe, right? So if you want any help, like kind of locking this in, I do have something simple and super high value that I put together for attendees. And then I have some other gifts after that too. So the Rewire and Rise VIP package includes a pattern reset bundle, and it's designed to give you momentum that you can keep and grow with after today. So what you're going to get in the VIP is an all access library. It's 8 curated video modules that will take you on deeper dives on topics like business growth, relationships, people pleasing, boundaries, understanding your nervous system, and more about like the RAS and the vagus nerve and shifting from survival to abundance as well as receiving, and cycle breaking, right? Working with some of those generational patterns. Also included in the VIP is hypnosis and EFT tracks. So over 15 video rounds of EFT, all targeted at different topics that we covered here today, as well as 3 full hypnosis tracks that you can use to rewire and rise, to overcome self-sabotage and procrastination, and even break through inherited patterns so that you can keep kind of unwinding your patterns at your own pace, right? So now I know we're a little bit after the hour. I tend to be a little long-winded. Sorry, and also you're welcome. I don't know what to say most of the time. But I want to open up the room. So if people have, questions, if you have anything that you want to weigh in on about, or, feedback, things that you may have experienced during the tapping round, feel free to raise your hand. It's a relatively, small group here, so there's no reason we can't just unmute and chat, and do a little, hot seat here, if any of you desire that. And if you don't, then we can all, go our ways and enjoy our weekends. But for anybody that does want to share anything or ask anything, it's your floor.
Teresa, I want to share something. I've been to at least a couple of your other workshops, and of course we've worked together. And I just want to thank you for your high level, high bar information that you give, your caring and consideration. I think you're making a huge difference in the world, and I value you so much. And I'm grateful for everyone that's given themselves the opportunity to experience you, if not for the first time again. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Wendy. Really sweet. Appreciate that. Appreciate you.
Hi,
Anybody else
Teresa. I do. I'll go
there?
again. I'll go. Yeah, Teresa, I've said this to you personally, but you put this information out so I can understand it. It's so simple to understand, and these are concepts that aren't really easy to understand at times. So I applaud you for how you just make it really simple and flow for my brain anyway, my ADHD brain, ADHD brain. So
I'm so
thank
glad. Without feedback like that, I don't know that it's helping people or that they're receiving it in that way. So I super duper appreciate hearing that. And I'm definitely looking forward to 60 minutes of VIP time with you coming up soon.
Yay.
Anybody else have a question or anything else that they want to talk about? Let's see. Molly said, notice how my breathing kept shifting down during the EFT tapping. That's awesome. Did you want to share anything about that, Molly? You can just unmute and talk.
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I just put into the chat that I really love this. It was so great. I haven't done some somatic work for a minute, so it felt really good. And my breathing is still, I think, adjusting, which is really nice. So thanks for the awareness. Thanks for the usable tools and all the goodies. Just really wonderful stuff. So thanks for having me, and hopefully you and I will connect again for on the other
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
absolutely, we will. And I'm so glad you were able to make it here live today. I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Great. Anybody else have any questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, I tapped on something different than I don't usually work on with you, Teresa, and got some good insights. So that was great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anything that you want to share? What kind of stuff came through for you? If you don't mind sharing,
Well,
that's okay
it
too.
was about some competitive work that I do, and I realized that I hold myself back. I maybe don't think I deserve to win. I don't think so. I thought when you said at the end, visualize what you want. Well, I'm going to visualize much clearer the steps, or hopefully clear, the steps I need to do, what needs to happen to win, and go from there. See, I think that can be very helpful to break it down, but to also realize that, oh, I can think of a million reasons why I shouldn't win. Well, what about if I think about a few reasons why I should?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can focus on one thing or we can focus on the other, and one tends to have much better results than the other does. So
Right.
it's a matter of choice. So you bring that choice back online and you can make better ones. So that's awesome, Kathy. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
Teresa, this
Anyone else?
is Karen. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Welcome,
Okay,
Karen.
great.
Sure.
Thank you. This is my introduction to you. Um, and I think my next step is going to be to buy the book.
Cool.
To be perfectly honest, I'm not sure exactly how I found you, but I think this is a good fit so far. One of the things, and so I answered the question about, sort of what gets you stuck as like fear-based. I do a lot of fear-based decision making, and it took me a while to realize that, but that really resonates with me. But right now I'm sort of having the opposite problem, which is that I'm eager to start several things at once, and I'm worried that I won't be able to keep up, So
Mhm.
like this, I've also started like 3 other things. So I'm just trying to slow down a little bit and maintain
Gotcha.
and
So,
move forward with one thing.
yeah, are you an entrepreneur or a professional,
I
or
I
what kind
am.
of?
I'm trying to be, and I aspire to be an entrepreneur. So I am doing a course around that. I'm doing a course around AI. What else am I doing? Another thing around AI. So yeah,
Cool. That's
thanks for
awesome.
the thumbs up, ladies.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, yeah, it's really natural when you start to try to head towards something like that that's new to you. Like you said, you're trying to be an entrepreneur, so it feels new.
Right,
Um, then you kind of end up either piling too much on, um,
right.
get that kind of like course or certification itis, or end up kind of shutting down. Or it's almost like you try to prove to yourself that you can't do it by making it too hard.
Yes, which is, like self-sabotage, I think. That's how I experience it. I've done this before. I'm trying very hard not to do it right now. So I appreciate your support in that.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. We will certainly chat more after this. Hopefully you'll join the school community. And if
yes,
not,
actually,
we
I
can
am
talk.
in the school community, so I have done that. Thank you.
Yeah, check the
Thanks a lot,
chat
everybody.
up there and we
Okay.
can learn more about the situation. I've got so many resources over there I can point you towards. So,
Okay, thanks so much. Nice meeting everyone.
all right. Well, if that's it, then we can all go off to our weekends. And I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you for all your lovely feedback. Thanks for participating. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the community or at a future workshop. All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks for spending some of your precious time with me today. If you loved this episode, please leave a review or simply share it with someone else who would get great benefit from it too. If you share on social media, please tag me so I can personally connect and thank you. Until next time, keep taking bold and brave steps towards becoming more of who you want to be in this world. You are capable, you are worthy, and you are enough. And if your inner critic is still trying to argue with those facts, hit me up. We've got work to do.